Morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Race 32. Race Day 32 here at the beautiful, amazing AMX Global. Running some amazing tracks here and some amazing cars, and this should be a day of absolute excitement. I hope everyone is having a great weekend so far. Of course, depending on where you're at in the world, it's either been a good Saturday or your Saturday's just getting started, and we are more than happy to see that you have decided to join us here at Hockenheim with the Radicals here for AMX Global. And of course, my name is Brad as always, and I am joined by the beautiful and amazing Marco. Marco, good evening, good morning. How are you?
Doing amazing and getting ready to go for this double header from Hockenheim and Silverstone. Of course, we are starting with the Radicals SR8, good choice there, on Hockenheim. So it's going to be a fantastic, action-packed race.
Absolutely, the Radicals at Hockenheim, it's a great car track combo. AMX has just knocked it out of the park this season with the car track combo decisions, and I have to give a big shout out there because it's been great setups. Of course, if you are new to AMX, I do want to welcome you along. You're in for a great treat all the way top to bottom. Taking a look at the leaderboards right now because it looks like we've got at least 30 drivers that I can see that are joining us here for AMX 0. And Marco, that's a big grid, and we'll get into that in just a second. But of course, if you're new to AMX, let's get through the housekeeping here and let's talk about exactly how things work here at AMX Global in this Season 3 setup. Of course, we started this season back on September 20th, and we've ran 3 race days a week, all the way down to December 17th, which is where we'll run our final race day. And we're giving away over $25,000 in prize pool. It's most races and the most variety of car and track combos here in a year. And if you see anyone else doing it, they took the idea from us. Race formats are as follows. It's a 15-minute qualifying session. We're going to invert the top 15 and send them into a 15-minute heat session. And then we're going to invert the top 15 again and send them into another 15-minute heat session. And we pay prizes for qualifying Heat 1 and Heat 2, same dollar amounts every time through. And of course, AMX 0, we don't require you to turn on a Zoom camera, but if you do, you get an extra $1. AMX 10, it is required. And you can get the link on AMX Discord or on amxrace.com. We pay out the balances over $100 each month. And race days are Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. So head on over to amxrace.com to sign up to join the premier sim racing league here in iRacing. Now, I hear you saying, Brad, okay, you have my interest, you have my curiosity. When do you race, though? Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday? Okay, So AMX Zero, we are of course running Saturday. The qualifying will start here in about 7 minutes time at 11:50 a.m. and we will follow that up with AMX 10 shortly after. Same thing on Sunday's schedule. 11:50 a.m. we'll kick off AMX Zero qualifying. 1:20 p.m. we'll kick off the AMX 10 qualifying. Wednesday night, 6:50 p.m., 8:20 p.m. So a good midweek rundown, or a good way to kick off your weekends. After a nice little nap, do that and then go watch some football. Now, I know everyone's not American, so if you're one of my European friends of the European persuasion, your Marco's neck of the woods, it is currently going to be about 5:50 p.m. for you is when we'll kick off AMX Zero on Saturday and Sunday, 7:20 p.m. It's a nice way, eat some dinner, relax, and then go kick some butt and earn some money. Now, of course, Thursday mornings is when AMX Zero and AMX 10 are, so if you're a night out, it's a nice way to, don't sleep, no sleep till you earn some money with AMX. And of course, we talk about the prize pool. We talk about everything. I said over $25,000 is being given out this season. Well, how does this money break down? Of course, $7 for first place, $5 for second. We're going to walk it all the way down where if you're in the top 15 and you're 15th place, you're still going to earn 20 cents. And remember, that's also qualifying. Then we're going to invert the top 15. You work your way back from 15th to first again. We're going to give you $1 if you can get the fastest lap in the mix, but of course, all the way back up. And then for Heat 2, we invert it one more time. And again, $1 for the fastest lap, walk you all the way back up, and an extra $1 for that camera if you turn that camera on. So $100 and the camera prizes being given out every time AMX Zero races. And again, there's 3 AMX Zero races a week. Join and leave as you please. But we have some friends in a lot of places, and of course, Next Level Racing, being one of my best friends, said, hey, we're going to give away a GT Lite Pro as well to the champion of AMX Zero. If you show up, you run the most races, you win the most money, we're not just going to pay you. We're going to throw out a GT Lite Pro in the mix. And that is a huge prize on top to go ahead and upgrade all of your stuff. So, big shout out to Next Level Racing. And who is going to claim this champion spot? We're getting down to the wire here. So this is going to be the final factors of deciding who gets this beautiful, beautiful Next Level Racing rig. And currently, in the run for the Next Level Racing rig is Corentin Gunez. Has raced 25 races and won 13 of them for a total of $359. Big story points here. Jackson Rasinjay in P2, Fabrizio Belzidi and Gerardo Ramos have swapped points by less than just a few dollars. And they are right there in the mix. They both raced 25 races and won one. And then look down, P9, P10, Fabulous, Fabio Zamperlini, and Elisiu have swapped places as well. That is down to 90 cents. And that is a big deal. And now, if just saying, hey, you can get all this, let's look at the averages. Who is averaging what? So every time Corentin Gunez races, what you're seeing on the screen here, it's $14.36. Every single time Corentin Gunez sits down behind his sim rig, in his rig, and goes and joins AMX Zero. So $14.36 every time. Kieran Harrison, $12.25 every single time Kieran Harrison is raced. And you can walk that line all the way down to Jackson Rasinjay with 30 races and $7.56 every single time he's raced. That's a lot of money that we're giving out and a lot of money you can earn. Now, enough of the housekeeping. I am going to hand it over to the beautiful and amazing, wonderful, fabulous Marco. Marco, introduce me to the car and track that we're going to take all of these wonderful fans around AMX Zero today.
Thank you, Brad. As per usual, yes, we are racing at the Hockenheim ring. This is a Grade 1 FIA racetrack that has been opened in 1932 and has gone extensive changes over the years, especially 20 years ago when it was changed into the layout it currently has. We are on the Grand Prix layout. We're not going to do the Grand Prix layout later in Silverstone, so keep that in mind. Which of course is a full track, which has just a bit of the old one, and basically the beginning and the end, and the middle part completely new, opened in the early noughties. A technical racetrack with lots of passing opportunities, a fan favorite, not in real life because everybody misses the old one, but in sim racing, in my opinion, one of the best tracks to commentate on, because basically it allows you to run side by side all the way through the entire lap. So it's going to be a fantastic race tonight, especially because we are going to be racing here with one of the most fun cars in iRacing, the Radical SR8, the free version of the Radical that's on iRacing. the better version of the Radical that's on iRacing, which has a beautiful V8 engine, almost 400 brake horsepower, no electronic aids whatsoever. This is a pure, beautifully sounding, raw, quote-unquote cheap prototype that's perfect for track days and for club racing alike, and perfect entry level to iRacing. I'm very sad that iRacing has switched to the SR10 now, which is not nearly as good as this one, and the participation numbers have gone down massively. So big props to AMX for almost always sticking with this car throughout the schedule. We are going to have so much fun. This car is very, very fragile, so be careful when colliding. We're going to see a lot of bent rear bumpers and front bumpers throughout the event, Brad. So really looking forward towards this, and again, expect massive side-by-side action all around this beautiful race.
Yeah, I am expecting, especially because, again, looking at the timing tables right now, which the link is in the chat if you are looking to look at the live timings, 31 cars are going to be jumping in these Radical SR8s. And Marco, you said something, and I have to give you props. The better Radical. I 1,000,000% agree with it. So we're going to jump 31 drivers in this car around the Hockenheim ring. And yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and say that we're going to see some rear wings laying around, some front bumpers laying around. We're going to see a lot of good action all the way through, especially when you look there, top left corner of your screen there at the Spitzker, and you try to throw 31 cars around with that on the first lap. It's going to be interesting, Marco. But, of course, to get through into the two 15-minute heats, the drivers first have to survive a 15-minute qualifying session and try to put down their fastest laps. And, Marco, I don't really know what sort of a lap time I'm expecting to see here.
It's interesting because, of course, this car being retired from the official series, we don't have a lot of data given the new updates that iRacing is constantly bringing out. By the way, the new season will start in a couple of weeks' time, which means that this coming week, in a couple of days, the new release will come out. Sadly, no rain, that has been postponed to March at the earliest. So it's really going to be interesting because apart from this series, and maybe if you, but I doubt you run in a local league with the Radical, you don't have a lot of, opportunities to practice with this car. So, and this is not an easy car to drive, as I was saying earlier. This is a 100% unforgiving car. Listen to the sound of this amazing engine. And this, when I said it is a fragile car, I was not joking. This is a reputation for being possibly the most fragile car in all of the service. You look at it and it will be getting damaged. So it's not uncommon to get like mechanical black flags, even by barely pumping. I mean, it's a prototype, so you need to be careful, of course. And with this big field, as you were saying, keeping your car clean is going to be massively important.
Yeah, keeping it clean, keeping it consistent, keeping the pace through, and really knowing how to drive these cars is what's going to differentiate first place all the way down to 31st place. And I love saying that. It's so cool to see 31 cars on the grid here, and we are currently riding on board with Corentin Gunez. Corentin Gunez, who has a reputation of knowing how to muscle these cars around, and we're watching Corentin Gunez start a flying lap here. And what I'm expecting to see here is just drivers running all the way through over and over and over and over again, and just keeping their foot in it and just running consistent laps all the way through. Corentin Gunez with Sim RC, the 23-year-old driver who is absolutely going to do everything he can to try to put his wonderful SR8 up at the front of the field there in that number 19 Radical. Just a plain carbon livery on it. You don't need anything fancy. I say that, and then we look at the car behind him, and I believe the car behind him is just trying to win the livery contest, if we're hosting one of those. Which, if we're not, what do we do at AMX? We need a livery contest, especially when the Radicals come into town.
I think that's Fabio Zamperlini with his unmistakable eyelash livery. I think it's, if I remember correctly, so, I mean, one of these cars that you cannot look away from, in my opinion. See the beautiful Texaco liveries in front of him, and of course, as you were saying, these unsponsored car for Coret and Guinness, because I assume that SimRC don't have an official livery for the Radical for the things, the reasons I said before. The track position, of course, crucial during qualifying. You want clean air, but crucially, you want also a little bit of draft, especially in the first sector where we are doing the original part of the racetrack, and then we move on to the parabolic and run down to the hairpin. You really want to get as much draft as possible from the car in front to really get maximum top speed that you can get with this car, and that of course it's counterbalanced by the secondary part of the lap, which is more of a twisty section, and there you of course don't want to be slowed down by somebody in front of you or somebody that's off the pace or making a mistake. As you can see, Corentin Guinness, well, not him, this is Eren Guzmunda with the, but no, because Corentin Guinness, we saw him just a few seconds ago. He's driver from Turkey, which is a bustling scene, in my opinion, both for sim racing and real life. Blurred the line a bit by Campbell Pashi, of course, recently, who's got extensive background in real life racing, and then has also dabbled a bit in sim racing. I don't know why some people think he's a sim racer turned real life racer, but it's still good for him, racing in the open wheel tiers slightly below F1. And so nice to have drivers from all around the world. Of course, we know, Brad, this Saturday and Sundays, for me, 6 p.m. slot here in Europe, incredibly popular with the South American drivers. By the way, if I'm not mistaken, we have just reached last week 100 unique participants in AMX 0, which is a fantastic result for the championship.
Yeah, 100 unique drivers have joined and raced in AMX 0 at least one race, which is a huge number when you think about it with the league. And again, AMX is one of those leagues you can jump in and jump out as you like. The big key is just make sure when you're running consistent and you give it your best. So it's huge to see that 100 unique drivers have given a shot at AMX. And of course, with that, it's a huge deal because there's not a lot of leagues that you see that consistently have so many drivers trying things out and returning week after week. That's the thing. It's not just 100 unique drivers have raced. It's 100 unique drivers have raced, but then those drivers are coming back and they're finding more races and they're doing more things because they're loving the variety that AMX goes to offer. I'm getting a note here on the back end that says Turkish iRacers are super fast. And when you combine a Turkish real-life racer with a Turkish iRacer, they're going to be really fast. So keep your eyes on this number 21 as we run through our race day here in AMX 0 today, because I would say that number 21 is going to be a force to be reckoned with. Looking through here at the moment, we've got 22 drivers that have lap times in, ranging from 1:40 all the way down to Jackson Rasinje, who is at a 1:32.642 at the moment, and that 1:32.642 is a good time. However, I still think there's a little bit more time for the drivers to eke out. Most drivers there in the top 12 are in a 1:33. As I say that, Corentin Guinness 1:32.607. And I'm going to say by the time we hit the end of this 15-minute qualifying session, which we're a third of the way through now, Marco, just over a third of the way through, the drivers are probably all going to be compacted within about 2 seconds. And that goes to show that a lot of our drivers just have really good pace and are really consistent, and they're doing well to fight through this big pack qualifying, because it's not just one car out on track, it's all 31 of our drivers out on track all at once. And that presents some unique challenges.
Absolutely. Just as it was said, we were talking about this last week, of course, in the fairness of clean racing and respectful driving, which is respected by all of the drivers here from AMX, but at the same time, the league is very clear. This is a test of survival, and while that was referenced mostly to the reverse grid system, of course, I think that also applies very well to qualifying, because usually in iRacing, the preferred choice for all the officials and for many of the leagues I know is that you have single car lone qualifying. Here it is completely different, of course. Another aspect that you really need to contend with if you want to get, and if you see these lap times, 32.5 for 2.6 for the top drivers, doing them in the traffic. When there is a crash or a spin, you get a yellow flag warning on your screen, on your dash. That can be very distracting, or the course from the spotter of a slow car somewhere, and you still have to keep the concentration, put the pedal down, and get the fastest lap possible.
Yeah, it's really all about balancing so many different things. And I will say, one of the things to remember, AMX is not a league like others. AMX stands to be the premier league and stand on its own and do things its own way. And if you have questions about anything, amxrace.com is the place to go. It's where you can get the full code of conduct. It's where you can get all of the information about the league and really find out what things are, because it is unique in so many ways, and that is what I love about AMX, is how unique it is. And now the drivers just need to buckle down and uniquely find that pace. Gustavo Ariel, 132.547, so we're now into the 132.5s, which is some significant pace with 6 minutes left to go here in qualifying. You can see Gamuzdal, I'm going to butcher that name at least twice trying to say it really fast. Josh Perwine and Boas in the number 15 there are on outlap, so they have opted to go in the pits, reset, get some fresh tires, and then go right back out. Of course, no setup changes to worry about here with these cars, as we do run the fixed setups, which makes things just a little more fair, a little more even for everyone. So drivers just got to learn how to buckle down with things. But the Texaco driver here of Gustavo Ariel doing a very, very good job of keeping some pace forward and setting on that time with a 10.9K I rating. Very, very crazy.
Yes, sir, and it's looking good for Gustavo there, even though, Corentin and Jackson, Flavi as well, Erwin, everyone is incredibly close. Pedro Moura jumps up into 7th place at 33.1, so that's another driver that surely can be in contention. The provisional reverse pole there is as of this moment, going to this point, Rafa Oliveira, who just jumped into P15, overtaking Mateus Carvalho. So right now, it's going to be the Brazilian number 82 in reverse pole. But we basically still have 4 minutes and a half. Let's not forget that at the moment the clock hits 15, we will kick everybody out of the racetrack, because this is being raced under the iRacing Heat format, which doesn't allow for any extra time in qualifying. So if you want to do your fast lap, you better time your run correctly.
Yeah, and timing the run is one of those skills that, again, it's something you just learn as a racing driver as you go, and it's something that we're going to see Gamuzdal here do very, very well with. And I am going to say that most of our drivers are going to probably throw in at least 2 to 3 more laps. At least 2 more laps based on a 1:30 lap time, and then probably call it there. And I would say a lot of our more experienced AMX drivers, Oliveira, Rago, Belzidi, Zamperlini, they know that 15-minute timer is where things end, and that is probably going to mean that they've paced themselves and timed themselves appropriately. And we'll see a lot of drivers into the pits when we get closer to that checkered flag, as they know that their time is done and dusted. But Tony Kanaan drivers, Marco, let's talk about them for a second, because they have stuck together through this qualifying. And also, is that a potato livery that I'm seeing behind them?
I think you are correct, and again we are talking about the food liveries in the YouTube chat. By the way, if you want to chat with us, YouTube, Twitch, on the Discord channel as well. So we will interact with you as best as we can. Teamwork. It's so crucial. We've seen it in AMX 0 and AMX 10. Basically, stacking the numbers in your favor can be of great help, especially if you need to make a comeback from a big reverse grid, or in this case, give each other draft during qualifying. And for Gustavo Ariel and Jackson Hasenji, it's going to be crucial to get a good run now in the draft of one another, because basically we are getting ready for the final run for most of the drivers.
Lapinda's livery is making me hungry. I'm going to say between AMX 0 and AMX 10, I'm going to grab some Doritos. I think I have some in the kitchen. So Thank you, Lapinda, as you slide that Dorito livery radical around and do your final lap here. That was a radical slide, and I get my puns from Reed, so if anyone has a question, you may directly message him on the AMX Discord group. Across the line, Victor Miranda, 132.428. So Victor Miranda getting us into the 132.4s at the closing lights. Victor Miranda, a very, very good move there. As he goes over, he lets cars by, and look at him. Look at him there in your bottom left. He's very satisfied with that run that he just made. And now we're going to settle things back down. Diego Villarreal is very comfortable as well, making runs, trying to just stay out of the way of other drivers there. You see the SART driver going very wide and just letting people pass, trying to stay out of the way and trying to ramp things up for one final run. And I always love looking at Diego Villarreal's setup. He's got that monitor there. He's got his Logitech wheel just bolted down to his desk, and he is just cool, calm, and collected. I've never seen Diego Villarreal ever look stressed out during a qualifying session, and it's one of my favorite traits about Diego Villarreal. It's perfect. Ooh, little bit of wall contact there from all of the drivers coming through. I can't imagine that is what you want to do there in the Mobile 1 curve, but it's what they're doing. And Marco, we are 45 seconds to the end now.
Absolutely. Let me give a big shout out to Facundo Rago, who is racing with his tribute to the early 90s Nissan prototypes from Le Mans, the factory livery, as we just see him park across the track. As Diego Villarreal goes across the start-finish line, will not improve, and I think that's going to be it for his qualifying. We are basically waiting for just a few drivers to arrive home for their final attempt. Only, well, basically 10 seconds left. Therefore, there is really not much time to improve. So this, unless we have a big surprise at the end, is going to be your final order from the quali session for AMX 0. And of course, we are going to reverse it in just a second.
Yeah, we set things up. We flipped the top 15 around, and of course, it's kind of cool to say that's only half the grid that we're inverting, but now the drivers get to fight from wherever they're at all the way up to try to get P1 to do it again. So now we wait on a 31 car leaderboard to come up, and here we go. Looking all the way in the back with Vinicius Loyola, and look back up front because Victor Miranda is your BenQ session winner. And man, Victor Miranda, you need to get used to that because you've been up there quite a bit. 132.428 wins the $7. Gustavo Ariel, less than a tenth back. Corentin Gunez, P3, Jackson Rasinje, Fabrizio Belziti will get your top 5. And then some big notables to point out. Pedro Mora in 10th place and Lucas Sigmund sitting P15 right there, just under a second off of Victor Miranda. But with the inverted grid, we'll go all the way forward. Vera Verriera is unfortunately not going to be there. It's just right at P16, and we'll invert nowhere. And we'll start 16th where he qualified. Any other big names that you see here, Marco, that we need to keep our eyes on going into this heat?
Okay, we talked about the Tony Kanaan by ex-racing by Tony Kanaan drivers. I think we should keep an eye on this reverse grid on Fabio Zamperlini, in my opinion. He starts from a good position, he's faster than his qualifying time suggests, so one to watch for the race win. Here we go with the proper reverse grid. And so another driver I want to look at is Josh Berwin, looking good. Of course, we have the new driver Eren Gumushtal. He's starting in P7, but the big fight, I mean, from 12th to 15th, Kasenji, Ines, Ariel, and Miranda, they are going to battle it out, and they need to be careful because the first corner, especially when you're in the midfield, as they are basically tonight, with the reverse grid, can become quite chaotic. Not just in turn 1, but also in turn 2, and we talked about it at length in the opening at the airpin. So, get your QR code scan for the live timing if you missed it earlier, and we are rolling for this, basically 3-corner pace lap.
We have a Red Bull livery leading us around, and I've always been told that the Red Bull liveries are the most dangerous in iRacing, either because they're very fast or they're very scary. We'll see who can channel their inner Max Verstappen coming around the final couple of corners here. Lucas Sigmund in that number 13 Red Bull livery radical will take us green flag racing here into our heat one. And ooh, that was a little bit slow around, but now he's coming through onto the start finish straight, dead ahead, and sends it through as we're already going to bunch things up for an 8-lap heat one here. And again, inverted into heat two, we will go. And Lucas Sigmund just takes off, nothing. And there's some spins in the background. There's several drivers spinning, Marco, and we'll see how hard drivers get through. I see several Texaco liveried cars off into the walls and around, and now we're coming back through. And look at this, Josh Berwine in P4 under a lot of pressure early on from Gamizdol and is trying to hold on. And there is Fabrizio Belziti dropping way back, and there's a spin. I believe that is Fabrizio Belziti that we see spinning back. And there's another car in the background spun. 31 cars started. How many drivers will survive this when it's all said and done? Check back in with the front of the field where they're going 3 wide here, 3 by 3 going through into the hairpin, and they're settling things out. They're holding on, but we're still. Oh, there's somebody in the air flying, Marco. What was that?
With his beautiful Nissan livery, unfortunately, it's already looking pretty medley. Oh, we have another big crash.
Oh, the drivers are trying to hold on as best they can. It is truly AMX is a survival. And there we go. There's the Red Bull driver. Look at Sigmund sit. Oh! Straight into the wall there. And now everybody just settles in. It's survival mode here in AMX on this first lap. I see front bumpers messed up. I see rear bumpers messed up. I see everyone doing everything they can to try to make it through. And Lozano in the lead with Victor Miranda in a P2 very furiously trying to go forward. And Lapinda there now into P2 up 24 places. Very impressive, and that actually might be a timing error. I'm not for sure. You see Lapinda is now dropping down the grid. But either way, lap 1 survived. Lozano's through. Miranda's P2. There's a bit of action back on the screen behind. And Marco, what a first lap.
Yes, look at the front end of, I think that's Gustavo Ariel car, and he's dropping now down to 7. Big damage on his radical. Mauricio Lozano is leading the way by 2.8 seconds over Victor Miranda, who is up 13 places. He has been able to avoid the chaos beautifully, and so did his teammate Jackson Hasenji, who's going on the inside of Pushkal to get up into third himself. As we see drivers, I said it in the opening, his car is unforgiving. I should have added more so than usual on cold tires, and remember, we only had basically 2 corners of pacing, so no time to get this tires into anything resembling working conditions, so the drivers paid a heavy price in the first lap.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing too, is again, it's the skill of survival, and it's knowing those cold tires, and it's knowing just what you can get away with here. As we see Victor Miranda in P2, Gaston Kohlhavi in 5th place is doing very, very well to hold on. Elysiu in P6, Ariel in P7, Fabulous Fabio is in P8, and all these drivers are just doing their best to go through. We see a lot of the big AMX names up near the front because they understand the skill of survival that it takes to go through. And look at that, there's a 1 second pace difference between Lozano and Victor Miranda. So just breathe, guys. It's lap 3 of 8. We've got plenty of time to go through. And I know you're telling a racing driver to breathe. That doesn't actually happen, as you and me both know, Marco. And now look at this. Gus, as his nickname is here in the number 21, is absolutely pushing, trying to make things through and do the absolute best that he can. Take that real life knowledge, throw it into the sim, and send it forward, and is doing a very good job of holding off a fast Gaston Kohlhavi in the background.
Almost at the halfway point already of this first race here from Hockenheim. Remember, after this one we have another one, then a small break, and then we'll be racing MX-5s around Silverstone National. So a very club racing kind of evening here on AMX. I like this sort of themed days we have here, and still everything to play for. As you were saying correctly, Brad, we have Mauricio Lozano losing big time to Victor Miranda and all the chasing pack, so we might have a very different looking podium, provisional podium I should say, in the next few laps or so. as we go across the start-finish line. Once again, Victor Miranda has been doing this for the past few laps, consistently the fastest lap of the race once again. So now the gap is down to 1 second. Of course, let's not forget we have bonus points, aka bonus money, also for the fastest lap of the race. So every driver, even those who crash early, have all the incentive of getting that fast repair, getting the car back in shape, and try to squeeze out something out of what would be otherwise a difficult race. Gustavo Ariel is unfortunately dropping positions, now down to 8th place. So some big damage to his car, but he's trying to hold on as we are, right now at the halfway point of the race.
Halfway point of the race here, and Victor Miranda is putting a lot of pressure on Lozano to keep things forward. And look at Victor Miranda there. He's just nice and comfortable. He's running his own race. He knows he's got the pace, and it's just a matter of when will he get this pass done in his eyes. It's just when, and as he is trying, he's just holding on here little by little. You can see just how close he's getting to the back here of Lozano, and Lozano doing a very, very good job of trying to keep Victor Miranda at bay. You see positioning the car just perfectly on the apex there of the final corner, and just shutting the door anywhere that a door can be shut here on the Hockenheim ring to keep that SR8 behind him that he needs to. And he's only got to do this for a few more laps here. We're on lap 5 of 8 now. But Victor Miranda is a crafty little driver going up the inside. Goes around here, right-hand corner. And for Lozano, his days were numbered, and Victor Miranda just goes ahead and seals it shut. And now Victor Miranda needs to run away from Jackson Sinjay as best as he can. And Jackson Sinjay needs to try to get up in the mix here a little bit faster, clear Lozano, and then try to chase after Victor Miranda. But Lozano is looking at having a bit of a fight back. You see a swerve there to the inside, comes back to the outside. We're 3 wide in the background as we go through, because there is Elisiu getting past Gus up the inside. And maybe some contact through Marco.
Yeah, I think definitely some contact. Gumushtal was forced to take a little bit of a wider line after the collision there at the hairpin. Again, very difficult to get it right. By the way, we have a big fight here. I was about to say that we were having a good run from An Jong-min, but unfortunately, he just lost 2 or 3 positions just as I was about to say it. So I don't know if it counts as a commentator curse or not.
I had this conversation with a friend the other day that commentator curses aren't real. It's just a coincidence when we say something and it happens. However, I'm going to say maybe a small commentator curse, Marco. We'll forgive you for it, though. I'll tell you who won't forgive something is Elisiu if he doesn't get past Gaston Kohalvi here within these next 2 laps that we have to run. We're lap 6 of 8 here. You can see the pace difference is catastrophic in some areas. Lozano 2 seconds slower than Kohalvi on that last lap, and Elisiu just a little bit faster than Kohalvi. So the pace is there, but for Elisiu, it's just a matter of settling in, keeping things moving, and doing the best he can. Victor Miranda has just said goodbye, sayonara, adios, and is sailing away up front against Jackson Sinjay. But the battles are going to get very, very fierce here into the dying stages. And again, this is just heat 1. We invert the grid. We do another 8 laps after this, Marco. So as a driver, what is your goal right now? You know you're going to invert here in just a second. How hard are you willing to push at this point to try to make the most money you can?
I think, given the nature of this race, it seems to me like these drivers came onto the racetrack with very little, restraint. So I think they are going for it. They see that the lap counter will very soon only show 2 laps to go, because we are basically getting very, very close to Victor Miranda getting the 2 laps to go signal. So, I mean, if I'm one of them, it's easy to say it from here, but, usually we say from here that the drivers have to be patient. If I'm one of them, right now, I would just go for it. I mean, it's been one of those races. There are lots of displaced drivers up and down the grid. So, boy!
Oh, man. We've spent so much time talking about Gus. And he spins through. He's now down into P13. But he's going to get back going very, very quickly. And again, good lap times through before that spin. He's going to recover. And again, the benefit in his situation is inverted grid will put him back towards the front at the start of Heat 2. And let's give a quick shout out to Nico Godoy, who's worked his way up into P14 at the moment. Good moves from Nico Godoy. Now P15, commentator's curse as we ride on board with Elysiu, who is still trying to chase down Gaston Kohlhabi. Lap 7 of 8 here, Marco, and what can we do?
Well, we can look at all these battles, and you were talking about Nico, who's now defending for his life with Josh Berwin for that all-important 15th place reverse grid pole for race number 2. It's going to go down to the wire that as well. Of course, Nico Godoy now summer almost in Argentina, and so he is not wearing his trademark hats, which I hope that will make a return very, very soon. William Baraviera is looking to get past the wounded car of Gustavo Ariel, as unfortunately Anne is dropping down to 12th place, still looking good for reverse, hopefully, as the white flag comes out.
Oh! White flag. Oh, man. Oh, drivers, 1 lap to go. Let's breathe. Let's make it through to the end, please. At least that's what I want to tell them. I know none of them will listen to me, but hey, Marco, I can try, right?
Absolutely. That's the best we can do, Mattia.
Oh, drivers are trying to go through. Lozano here in 3rd place is trying to chase back down Jackson Resenje, find a little bit of pace to go back in and try again here, and is doing a fairly good job of it, as we see Jackson Resenje 2.8 seconds off of Victor Miranda. Victor Miranda, you can see cool, calm, and collected here through the final lap. You can see nice and relaxed, probably talking to his Tony Kanaan teammates and saying, haha, look at me, I'm in the lead, where are you all at? As he comes around the final couple of corners, and I know Victor Miranda wouldn't say that, but Tony Kanaan and the Texaco boys have told us that they like to banter back and forth in Discord a bit, so it's possible he's saying that. But as he comes through the Mobile One corner here in the Hockenheim ring, the Mobile One curve, I apologize, and he's going to come around the hairpin of the Sachs curve and set things up. You can see he's smiling. He's very, very happy. Up 14 places into 1st place, doing very, very good. Nico Godoy and Josh Perwin are swapping positions back and forth for that all-important 15th place in the background. But Victor Miranda will win Heat 1 and bring home the $7. He knows he's on camera. He throws that hand up. He celebrates it. Jackson Resenje with some strong defense in the background from Lozano. And now the drivers continue to cross the line there. Zamperlini will hold off Ariel, who will hold off Baraveria. And now it is all the way down to that all-important 15th place. What can Nico Godoy do around the final corners here to try to get that all-important 15th place? It looks like it's just a couple corners too late, and Nico Godoy will finish P16 here, Marco, and not get the inverted grid, but still a very, very strong drive from Nico Godoy. And now we wait on the rest of the grid to come across. Spetronev here in P20, battling it out with Carvalho and doing a very, very tight battle all the way through. Whirl will come through for Kundorago, and now several drivers in the pits. It looks like our last driver to come across will be that number 8 car, and several drivers with some broken rear wings that we see. But Marco, that's a good Heat 1 done. Let's invert the top 15 and do it one more time. What do you say?
Absolutely, absolutely. I can't wait, and thankfully we don't have to wait very long, because as soon as the last driver is running crosses the start-finish line, the drivers will get a 1-minute countdown grid for the quote-unquote pace lap of race number 2. So we'll get back to action very soon. I think the drivers will have learned, hopefully, from this race 1. You need to be super careful with this car in the beginning of the race. And again, Victor Miranda, thank you, session winner. You can see the results on your screen. Now, curiously, we are going to have basically the same situation that we've had after qualifying. So the fast drivers will all go back, because they all made their way back to the front thanks to the various crashes. So I want to keep an eye on Belziti and Purwin for this second hit, because I think they will be drivers to watch. And of course, Kumushdal also was doing so well after a bit of beating and banging. That mistake he made towards the end of the race put him down to 12th, but on the flip side gives him a decent starting position for race 2 in the neighborhood of Corentin Guinness. So a lot to look forward to, and let's see what Gustavo Ariel can do with a non-damaged race car, hopefully.
Yeah, this is going to be the all-important Heat 2. Again, there's no more heats after this. This is it. This is all the drivers get. And now, as they get ready for a short pace lap, what lessons did they learn from the start of Heat 1? Did they learn that cold tires are not nice on the radicals? Did they learn that they need to be a little more patient through the start? What are they bringing in here to this race to keep things going? That is the million-dollar question. Is that iRacing Porsche safety car brings them around the final couple of corners here of the Hockenheim ring, and we get ready to go for heat number 2 for 8 more laps of crazy action to come our way. And we're not even having to wait, because look at that. Who is that? That is gonna be On, that just completely forgets how to hit the brake pedal. Almost takes out the pole sitter of Josh Purwine. As we go through the final couple of corners here, watch these radicals come around, because this is going to be a radical 8 laps. And Marco, just remember that in the back of your head as we go down towards turn 1. Green flag in the air here. Josh Purwine, Fabrizio Belziti, Jay Hanan comes through, and of course, Gamuzdal will be in 4th place. Corentin Nunez in P5. We're following through. Elisi runs very wide there with Fabio Zamperlini, and they hold on. There's some cars spinning in the background, though, as we thought would happen, and that is the Red Bull livery driver off in the corner. But as they go through, the front of the grid is holding on as best they can. Some drivers running wide, some people looking for defense, and look at that. Fabio Zamperlini moving forward, Adami moving forward, Victor Miranda up into P11 now. There's another spin. There's a car in the air in the background.
And that is the BMW livery, the same livery that flipped at Road Atlanta all those years ago, if you remember, with Bill O'Byrne at the wheel. So that was a tribute of sorts, I would imagine.
Man, 3 wide going through the hairpin, some contact through, some cars going around, and I hope nobody has to pay for these front bumpers, because they look very expensive here on these prototypes. But everybody's back through and going. Marco, 3 wide through. Look at all of the Texaco liveried cars together, and somebody in the background has had a big spin. And who was that? I'm not sure, because the battle for the lead is big. That's the number 3 of Fabrizio Belziti. Goes very wide, comes back on, almost collects the car in front of him, but thankfully doesn't. And there's a big spin in the background yet again. Another wreck in the background going through. So all the drivers up front trying to be patient. And the midfield, no, I say that. And the Fabrizio Belziti spins off into the gravel, coming into the penultimate corner. And now we go through. Marco, we're going to hit lap 2 here, and everything is so mixed up already. On dropping down 4 positions through, a lot of people gain position, but all the while the leader of Josh Purwine is stable up at the front, and everything else is completely mixed around. Marco, lap 1 done, lap 2 coming your way.
Exactly, out of the top 20, only 3 drivers haven't changed positions as the wheat breaks here, and a bit of contact sends, unfortunately, Fabio Zamperlini for some agricultural racing. The front of the field, Corentin Guinez and Eren Gumujdal are looking good. So is Gustavo Ariel, which the undamaged car can really show his great potential. Josh Purwine still holding strong in 3rd position. Is a tough driver to overtake. It's not going to be easy for the chasing pack to put a move on him, we shall say.
Yeah, the chasing pack is going to be the ones that have the pressure here. I don't think Josh Purwine is going to be under any pressure. I think Josh Purwine is just going to chill and relax. And there's a big shuffle up there in the midfield. That's the number 21 going around again. That's Gamuzdal that has spun again and gone off. That is so unfortunate. And we saw more drivers dropping. I didn't see what happened with them. I just happened to catch Gamuzdal in the background there, spin through, and there's another car. That's Lozano, and that radical is radically smashed. Excuse me. Damn. What shocking turn of events here. Josh Purwine now needs to hold Corentin Guinez at bay. And Corentin Guinez, we know, fast driver. So everybody hold your breath here for a few laps, because I don't know how this ends. Josh Purwine, a masterful defender. Corentin Guinez, a masterful attacker. And look at Corentin Guinez there on your bottom left corner. Nice and relaxed, and cool, calm, collected. Just needs to do everything he can to keep pace here with Josh Purwine, find the opening, and get the pass done. And Marco, where on the track is going to be his best place to pass, really?
This one, let's see if he goes for it immediately. moves to the inside of the Aussie and hits the brakes. Can he stop the car? Can he get a good traction? No, he can't. Great defending from Purwin, but now we'll have to defend the inside once again, which is easier said than done. But in this corner, it's a fast corner. Shouldn't have any issues. Now moving towards the braking area, and again super close, but Josh Purwin is able to hold on to the lead for now.
How long can he hold on to the lead is the question of the day, because also remember, you got Victor Miranda back a bit as well that is going to be on a charge to try to go for the beautiful, wonderful Triple Crown here in AMX 0, and we'll see if he can make that happen there from 4th place forward. He's got a few seconds to make up, but hey, 5 laps to do it. We'll see what he can do here. Riding on board with Josh Purwin, and you can see him looking up, and oh, there's a bit of a slip there, and that is going to open the door up very, very quickly for Corey Yunez, but you don't see a single change of facial expression. It's keeping his head up, and keeping an eye on that rearview mirror, and doing everything he can to defend. And Yunez will dive it up the inside. Josh Purwin breaks a bit early. He's going to go for the overspeed on the exit, but doesn't have enough to make the move happen. Corentin Yunez is your new leader here on lap 4 of 8, halfway through this Heat 2 session, but can Josh Purwin put pressure back on him? And look at him. He's going to dive a nose up the inside, side by side. They come through. Who comes out on top going into the next corner? It's outside Purwin, inside Corentin Yunez. It's late braking for Josh Purwin. He's going to open up the corner a bit, try to hold on to it. They're still side by side, and Gustavo Ariel's in the mix now. It's anyone's game for how this plays out. Look at it, still side by side, still holding on to things as they go through. And now it is going to be Corentin Yunez up the inside, and Gustavo Ariel is going to say, can I have a small piece of that around the outside as well? Continues to go through, but Josh Purwin will not be defeated. And he continues on, and I think they might slot single file for a moment. They don't. The number 12 continues through. And again, Josh Purwin now down into 3rd place as they hit the Mobile 1 curve. They settle single file, and it's Corentin Yunez, Gustavo Ariel, Josh Purwin, your top 3 now. But how soon till this changes again? Marco, that was a tight battle all the way through.
And very heads-up driving by everybody, starting with Purwin. He knew he made a mistake on the front stretch, so basically he allowed Guinness to go through, to then prepare a beautiful attack at the hairpin, which I think would have worked if it wasn't for the fact that he had to look back in the mirror because Gustavo Ariel was coming, and he made the most of it, the Brazilian did, because he's now up to 2nd and looking to challenge Corentin Guinness for the race lead. Fantastic racing from all 3 drivers involved. And as you were saying, I don't think it's over just yet, the fight for the win. And look at Victor Miranda there, getting closer and closer, using the battle to his advantage.
3-way battle will very quickly be turning into a 4-way battle, and then this is going to be where things get spicy. Victor Miranda always shines in these radical cars, but the battle up front, what can he do to get through? Because Gustavo Ariel is putting pressure on Corentin Yunez. Look at that, gets around to the side of him, is going to try the long way around the outside. It's going to hold on to it, slips a little bit. How did he not hit Corentin Yunez there and spin Yunez in the process? That was very, very close. Now Gustavo Ariel is going to be disadvantaged a bit here on Josh Purwin, and is going to do his best to try to make things through here. Corentin Yunez just trying to keep his head down, trying to get some pace going. You can see there that it's actually Ariel that is faster, and Josh Purwin that are faster than Corentin Yunez going all the way through this. So this battle is just going to continue on and on. Victor Miranda now 0.4 of a second off the back of Josh Purwin, and Victor Miranda has just a handful of laps left to try to battle things through. And Marco, place your bets now if you are a betting man. If you are not a betting man, just hold your breath for a couple laps. We've got plenty of time and not enough time to see how this race is going to finish.
I think I'm going to hold my breath because, this is going to be fantastic. Look at Josh Purwin. His pace wasn't good when he was at the front, but he has been using the draft majestically to stay close to these 2 fantastic drivers. Now he has to defend from Victor Miranda. Easier said than done, but even then he could just maybe let him pass and then use the slipstream to stay up close. Move on the inside for the lead.
Oh, and Victor Miranda up the inside as well. So Victor Miranda sees Corentin Yunez up the inside and says, I'll follow that through as well. Victor Miranda now from the P3. And Yunez and Ariel, look at this, bumper to bumper. Victor Miranda smells smells the chum in the water. He knows what could happen here, and Victor Miranda just needs to stay in touch. Corte Gunez, Gustavo Ariel, side by side yet again. Inside Gunez, outside Ariel, who comes out ahead with these two drivers. Again, Corentin Gunez holds onto it as much as he can. Gustavo Ariel putting all the pressure, though, and again will get back into the lead. But can he hold it? Corentin Gunez around the outside here. Around the inside, Gustavo Ariel around the outside, turns to the inside, a little bit of contact, a wheel dips off the track, and side by side they go, Victor Miranda through, and around the final quarter, look, Corentin Gunez is doing everything he possibly can, little correction of the wheel, but in the end, Corentin Gunez will find the lead. Victor Miranda is now trying to put pressure for P2.
And I said during the opening, you can race side by side all the way around this place, and every once in a while, I'm correct.
I will say, Marco, you have your track knowledge down to a science here, and it plays benefit because outside is not the conventional passing line, but it's what's working. Now watch this here. Gustavo Ariel is going to get the run on Corentin Gunez here with the help of Slipstream up the inside. Look at Victor Miranda. Victor Miranda's right in the mix. He's going to take it 3 wide. Corentin Gunez will defend the outside, the inside line, and we'll go through. And look at this. Victor Miranda is going to push it as hard as he can. Gustavo Ariel, look at the smile, look at the laugh. He knows what he's done. He's very happy with the decision here. Lap 7 of 8, and Gustavo Ariel is up into the lead. Corentin Gunez under a lot of pressure, and Victor Miranda is just trying to find an opportunity up the inside. Gustavo Ariel, the outside Corentin Gunez. Victor Miranda goes around the inside because Corentin Gunez runs wide, and that puts Gustavo Ariel and Victor Miranda in the battle for the lead here. Lap 7 of 8 as they come through the Mobile 1 curve. Who is out ahead? Marco? Because Victor Miranda leads the Triple Crown.
I mean, I think that Miranda will go for it. We've only seen one Triple Crown so far, and it was an AMX 0, so I think that Miranda wants to put his name in the history books as well. And here we go, white flag, Sale la Blanca.
One more lap. Victor Miranda, get the run on if you can. Gustavo Ariel, and remember, these are teammates through. Look at Victor Miranda. He's going to try it around the outside here on the curb, and Gustavo Ariel is going to try to push him wide. He switches it back through. Corentin Gunez wanted in the mix. Outside turns to the outside for the next corner. He has a front bumper there, but it's not enough. And now here he goes. He's going to dive up the inside. Maybe a little bit of a tap. You can see the face. You can see he goes, hey! He's telling his teammate, watch out here. Victor Miranda up the inside here. It's going to be the outside for the hairpin. Where does he come out here? Coming out of splits care, and it's going to be around. Can Victor Miranda hold on? It's a little bit of a slip, and that's actually going to open the door for Corentin Gunez to go up the inside of Ariel. Corentin Gunez is going to go for the lead here, and Victor Miranda might have just lost the lead all the way down to the P3. It's a 3-way battle, and I won't be able to tell you who wins. Will they cross the line here? Victor Miranda trying his best, but for a moment, Corentin Gunez had the lead, and now it is going to be Victor Miranda in the lead as there's a spin from Gustavo Ariel. A spin from Gustavo Ariel will hand Victor Miranda. Oh my gosh, Marco, what is this? What is this race? Victor Miranda, you lucky dog, you find it in the end. Corentin Gunez will hold the P2, Josh Purwan P3, and you can see Gustavo Ariel up into 4th. Victor Miranda comes across the line for a triple crown here in AMX 0. Man, Corentin Gunez tried to take it from him, and that, oh my gosh, what was that race, Marco?
That was AMX entertainment at its finest, in my opinion. Fantastic driving. Shame about that little contact with this car, so you can just blow on the car and it will fly off the track, as we've seen earlier. There was nothing malicious in that. It was the product of incredibly close racing for basically the second half of the race, going on and on since lap 4, lap 5. It has been absolutely fantastic. We get a triple crown. I mean, what more do you want apart from 2 more races after this? I mean, this is perfect.
AMX Global, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Who could have predicted that? Because that was a crazy run. And here we go now. We watch on board with Borges coming around the final corner, crossing the line with Silva shortly behind in probably one of my favorite liveries on these Radicals. And I like the style of it, goes through. But man, Marco, Victor Miranda, Quarantine Gunez, Josh Perwine. That battle is going to go down in the record books here in AMX because that was something. And as we see Silva crosses the line, and I can officially say it now, there is a triple crown here in AMX 0. Well, unofficially I can say it, of course. There is a triple crown in AMX 0 because Victor Miranda, take your bow for the third time here in AMX 0 today on this race day 32. It is going to be BenQ session winner Victor Miranda. Quarantine Gunez pulls it out into P2 at 1 second. I really thought Quarantine Gunez had the win, but drops back. Josh Perwine with some beautiful defending all the way through, brings it home into P3. Gustavo Ariel, 4th place. And Willen Barbiera will finish P5. Jackson Resenje, Marco Sadami, Gohelmer Eliziu in 8th. Facundo Drago in 9th. And fabulous Fabio Zamperlini will bring it home in 10th place. Man, what a run. What a run, Marco.
We really need that break, because that was absolutely intense racing. And I wasn't expecting anything less, honestly, from these drivers, this car, this track. It was the perfect mix here on AMX to have some incredible racing, and we got it. And trust me when I say this, with this car, it is so difficult to run so close to each other. It's a car that's, like I was saying, rarely used in a racing. So these drivers jumping from car to car, they put on an amazing show. I was so proud to be your commentator for this one. The social media team will be very happy with this race. I'm sure they're already thinking and working in their mind for clips that will of course be for your entertainment on the AMX social media channels. So of course we'll show them to you in a second, and we get ready for race number 3 and 4 of the evening, AMX 10. But first you have to look at our beautiful faces once again, because man, we'll see now, we are very happy. There we go.
Man, I'm hoping nobody can see the sweat, because that race gave me some work, Marco. That was a lot, but that was... Man, we have to do this again with AMX 10, and AMX 10 is MX5s at Silverstone. So we're going to go from one real crazy setup to another, and if we keep the same drivers and the same sort of action, we're in for it. So everybody stick around. Check out, during the break here, check out Automatics, check out BenQ, check out Next Level Racing. A big thank you to the KARA, our FIA affiliate team, and of course, check out all the socials. Take a break and go check things out. I apologize in advance to the social media team, because you're going to have a lot of work while we are on break, and of course in the coming days with getting some clips from what was a wild AMX 0 race. So, it's Instagram, it's Discord, it's Twitter. Get involved. Tickets are still open. Signups are still open from AMX 10. Marco, let's go ahead and jump on a plane and fly to Silverstone. What do you say?
Absolutely. I have had the pleasure to commentate for many years on the BSR MX5 League. I used to do 4 races with 3 reverse grids on Monday nights, and Silverstone National was always on the calendar. It's a perfect combination for the MX5 racing at Silverstone National. I strongly suggest you guys stick with us, because it's going to be can't miss entertainment.
Absolutely. Everybody stick around here for just a little bit. Me and Marco are going to jump on a plane, grab a drink of water, and we'll be back to bring you that AMX 10 action, Silverstones, MX5s. It's coming up here just shortly. We join you now from the British countryside for a internationally known track that's a national staple of great success to run the national circuit with a car that is internationally known as the starting point of iRacing. It is, of course, going to be the beautiful National Silverstone circuit with the glorious Mazda MX-5s. I mean, and who doesn't like the MX-5? And of course, Marco, I see you made the flight to Silverstone. How was your layover?
Fantastic and quick, of course, from Germany. This is absolutely a fantastic combination. I am, putting my credibility on the line. It's going to be a fantastic series of races that is one, because this car is made for tightly contested racing, and this track provides just that. We are getting just a little bit of Silverstone, but it's a little bit of Silverstone that makes racing incredibly good. It's going to be an old school feel to Silverstone. We are going to start from the old start-finish line and then cut through the track after we go to Magnus. We'll talk about that a little bit more in detail later, because it's basically time for the housekeeping.
Yeah, of course, this is AMX. I do want to introduce you, but there is a little bit of housekeeping. There's a few things that I need to tell you about before we get going. So let's jump on board and let's talk about it. Of course, we started this beautiful AMX Season 3 back on September 20th, and we're running this thing all the way down to December 17th. Over $25,000 in prize pools being given out, and it's the most races in a year and the most variety of car track combos in a year. And if you see anyone else running anything similar to this, they probably got the idea from us. Race formats are as follows. We run a 15-minute qualifying session, 15 minutes for our drivers to go run around, put as many laps as they can. Then we're going to invert the top 15. Heat 1 is about 15 minutes, depending on the track, 8 to 10 laps. And then we invert the top 15 from Heat 1, and we give them one more heat, same lap amount, to try to run things through. And we pay prizes for qualifying in both heats. That's the big thing to note. We pay you all the time. And now, let's talk about the Zoom link, because it is required to be part of the Zoom call. We want to see your beautiful faces whenever you're running an AMX 10. If you want to be paid for your participation, it is required, and you get the link from Discord or from AMXrace.com. Of course, balances over $100 are paid out each month, and we race on Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So sign up to race at AMXrace.com. That is the place to get the most up-to-date information, and of course, join the Discord. Now, I hear you saying, okay, Brad, cool, you've got me interested. You're talking about the pay, the prizes, you say when you race. Now, what times? Well, of course, this is AMX 10. We are running 1:20 p.m. Eastern time. On Saturdays and Sundays, it's 8:20 p.m. on Wednesdays. So get you an afternoon luncheon, get you a nice brunch going there on the Saturday and Sunday morning. Jump in, earn yourself some money, and then go watch some football after. If you are in the U.S., that would be the perfect way to run things. Wednesday night, it's a good way to spice up your work week if you have some crazy things going on. But, of course, all of us here at AMX, we understand that not everybody is of U.S. descent. And if you are a friend of Marco's and you're over on the European side of things, it is currently going to be about 7:20 p.m. whenever we run this for you. And what does that mean for you? That means have a nice dinner and then jump on and earn some money doing something you love, which is sim racing. Same times on Saturday and Sunday. It's 2:20 a.m. on Thursdays. So if you're a night out, this is a perfect way for you to earn some money and give up on a sleep schedule. You don't need a sleep schedule. Join AMXrace.com. Now, again, I've said when we race, I've said there's prizes given out. Let me give you the breakdown of the AMX 10 prize pool, because it's a lot of money here. $40 to first place. Walk it all the way down to $3 for 15th place. We're going to invert that top 15 in qualifying, and we're going to run you into Heat 1. Again, same prize pool all the way through Heat 1 with $5 given for fastest lap. And then we're going to invert that again, and we're going to run Heat 2. And again, exact same prize pool as Heat 1, but the camera is required with $601. We had to say 601, that way we could say it's over 600 per race. $601 given out every single time we run. But it's not just money that we give away here. It is money, of course, and here's your top 12 run through. But the champion of AMX 10 there will get from our beautiful friends at Next Level Racing, the FGT Elite will get sent to your home as part of this if you are the AMX 10 champion. So not only do you get all the money that we're throwing out there just for participating. You're going to get an FGT Elite. And I tell you what, I don't know a better upgrade for your sim rig than the FGT Elite. So big shout out to our friends at Next Level Racing and a huge thank you for supplying this to the winner of AMX 10. Now, who is in the running to win AMX 10? Let's take a look at our top 12 here that flashed up just a second ago. Corentin Gunez. We saw him with some amazing pace in AMX 0 today over at the Hockenheim Ring. Is currently sitting 1,508 points. And of course, it's point per dollar, so 1,500 US dollars. You can do the math in your head, that's a good chunk of money. Gal Valero P2, 1,261 US dollars. Fabrizio Belziti currently sitting at just over 1,000 US dollars and is 2 points ahead of Jackson Rasinje. 2 points separating third and fourth place currently, with another 11 points back to Kyle Gaspar. Right there in the mix. All those drivers very, very close. You can walk your way down. Diogo Pinto's in the mix. Facundo Drago's up there. Gerardo Ramos and Gustavo Ariel in 12th place. So it's a very, very contested and packed grid here in AMX 10. Now, of course, you're saying, well, what's the average? What are we looking at? Like, every time I run, you say it's payouts over $100, so what am I going to average each time? Well, if you're Enzo Benito, you're going to run a single race and make $95 because Enzo Benito is a beast. Chris Lillum has ran 5 races and averages $78.40 every single time he runs. You walk down the screen here, David Toth, $70.50 in 2 races. And keep looking around here, Diogo Pinto, 12 races, $68.92 every time he runs. Connor Nixon, $65. So if you're running in the top 12, you do have a good chance of earning over $50 every time you race, which means you can do the math, 50 times 2, 100. So just 2 AMX 10 races and you could earn yourself a quick $100 doing something you already love. And now, of course, AMX 10, it's $10 to enter, but we like giving things away around here. So, hey, first 10 entries are free for AMX 10. So that means if you are the quickest person on AMXrace.com, and what I've been told is the drivers sign up for the rolling entries, usually within a couple of minutes of them releasing. So first 10 entries for each AMX 10 race are absolutely free. You don't have to pay for them. After the first 10, it does kick back to your normal $10 entry fee. So make sure you check because AMXrace.com, we open the signups on a rolling basis. And now, let me hand things over to Marco to put his reputation, put his knowledge on the line. And why don't you introduce us, Marco, to the track and car combo that we are going to bring here for AMX 10.
Thank you so much, Brad. We are going to race at Silverstone National. As I was saying earlier, we are going to basically get the Grand Prix track and cut it in half. Start from the old start finish line, as I was saying, go through the beautiful section at Magnussen and Beckett, and then take a sharp right towards the loop and entry, take us back to the Wellington Straight, Brooklands, Laffield and Woodcote, the old end of the lap, of course. So it's nothing nothing new to what you see on TV during the F1 race, apart that we are missing half of the track and we have 2 extra corners. So that is going to make for some incredibly tightly packed racing that will provide for some fantastic action from start to finish. And that I say this because we are racing with one of the absolute premier cars for this kind of circuit in iRacing. I'm talking about the Global MX-5 Cup car, the Miata, call it as you want, the car that everyone in iRacing starts their career with. Perfect car for this kind of track, easy to learn, hard to master. We're going to be basically see how much this car loves to be in the draft, especially on the Wellington Straight and the main straight and the straight lead to Magnussen and Beckett's. Is going to be fantastic. Wheel-to-wheel, a sturdy car compared to what we had earlier with the Radicals. So expect lots of close battling and wheel-to-wheel contact. Fender to fender, bumper to bumper contact throughout the field.
They are going to be... I've been doing a lot of NASCAR commentary lately, Marco, with some other stuff I've been working on. They are going to be beating and banging down the straight, is what I'm going to say. Because this is going to get to be a very, very competitive qualifying session here. 15-minute qualifying, of course, and then we'll run into our 2 heat sessions. And Marco, what is going to be the key to success here? Are we running the survival game, or are we expecting the drivers to absolutely just send it? What do you think is going to be the best decision? As we see the number 20 here just going very loose. We already see MX-5s facing backwards. Sir, you can't park there. Marco, we just started qualifying. What is happening?
Yeah, we were on board with none other than Gianni Vecchio, who has made a late appearance into this AMX 10 race for Team Redline, and he was warming the tires. You know, I think that going back to what we were saying a few seconds ago, the drivers would have to take a page out of oval racers because this is going to be a matter of being fast, yes, but also being smart and playing your cards at the right time. Again, I will be very surprised if we see somebody jump away from the rest of the pack, especially from the top drivers. It's going to be incredibly close, and so you need to play the cards at the correct moment. If you want to make that move to win the race, probably it's going to go down to the wire, so picking your spots will be crucial. As we see a profile of Gianni Vecchio, the Italian driver residing in Germany, the winner of the inaugural Italian esports championship way back in 2020. It was a 2019 trophy because in Italy we like to do things weirdly, and he was having some fun out there, I think.
Gianni Vecchio, the ultimate car control driver, just drifting his way around left field there, because I guess that's the fastest way to get around, and just trying to teach a thing or two here as he comes through. There are 4 world champion licenses in this qualifying lobby right now, and that is a big stat to have. Gal Valero, David Toth, Tomás Simon, and Gustavo Ariel, 4 world champion licenses here running in this AMX 10 session, all big names, all with a lot to show and a lot of skill to give. And at the moment, it is Quentin Gunez who is just showing them all up. He said, I don't have a world champion license, but guess what? I'm the fastest. 1:05.726, running his number through. As we watch here, Simon coming across 1:05.480, finding a bit of time as Quentin Gunez finds a 1:05.244. But Marco, you talked a little bit about the draft here in the MX-5s. And it really is going to be the draft that I think will play a big part as we watch Gustavo Ariel, Victor Miranda, Pedro Mora, Jackson Resenje, Lozano, all going across the line, putting in times and improving, getting things through. And driver spotlight here on Tomás Simon, who is with Balache Vext. Absolutely good driver. Lots of pace. Going to show us how to run these cars here in iRacing and show off some of those fantastic skills that you get as being well-known and big in sim racer here. But back to what I was going to say a second ago. The draft in the MX-5s, it's going to prove to be very, very important, isn't it?
Yes, people were surprised by this, especially when the new car got released, this one, which by the way was released with the H-pattern gearbox. Now in real life it has been updated to a sequential gearbox, so in iRacing it is sequential as well. Way back when, I remember having an H-pattern shifter was a massive advantage over having to use the auto clutch or auto flip. And yeah, people were very surprised. And oh man, I don't remember if it was Brandon McGee, or I think Brandon McGee was his name. McGee for sure, the last name. The iRacer who won the competition to drive the real MX-5 on track on iRacing said that when he drove the car in real life for the first time, he was shocked by how much the draft was important in this one and how well it was then replicated in iRacing. So, you know, you don't see this car and think at it like a car that it's really, you know, happy to sit in the draft, you know. But no, of course, you always need to keep an open mind, and this car loves to stay in the draft. So in qualifying especially, having a teammate to drive you around and give you that all-important draft is going to be crucial to get the best position. And a quick word on our 2 guests from Hungary, Thomas Simon and David Toth, of course. Two very, very good drivers, both of them, of course, fast in everything, but more often than not, you can find them racing with open-wheelers, and if I'm not mistaken, they very recently competed in the iRacing Grand Prix World Championship that just ended a couple of weeks back.
I just noticed Fabrizio Belziti is running a Rust-Ease livery. Ka-chow. Fabrizio Belziti, take a bow, because that might be the best livery I've ever seen on an MX-5. So, that's amazing. I love that. We're riding on board with Victor Miranda, who got the Triple Crown in AMX 0. We're just kind of following him around here, and we see he's doing his best to really put in that work and get things forward. We're a third of the way through qualifying now, approaching the halfway mark as David Toth comes across 105.229. Good pace there, and you see drivers just continuing to go through. So these drivers are just cycling lap after lap after lap. They're going to start resetting now because we're about halfway through, and Victor Miranda lost and then got his front bumper back for a second. That was interesting. But I think we're going to start seeing drivers start to cycle back into the pits and reset, get fresh tires, reset their fuel to a good level, and then keep putting in laps and continue to try to push and improve. As we see Fabio Zamperlini here in the Brazil livery, the bright yellow livery. I love his car. It stands out anywhere you look. Who currently has Gianni Vecchio for company back behind him, who is just kind of looking around. Actually, I think once he gets past Zamperlini, I think he's flashing the lights there in the MX-5. Or maybe it was the sun reflection. Just wants to get away from him, get around him, and go through. And you see Fabio lets him through and gives Gianni Vecchio a little bit of clean air. But now that gives Zamperlini the draft to try to pull through here. And halfway through qualifying, and we're already seeing just how competitive this field is going to be. The top 17 cars in this field are separated by less than a second, Marco. And that is a pretty significant statement here.
Yes, sir. This qualifying session is incredibly competitive, and we're only halfway through it, so I'm sure these drivers have something else left in their pocket to take the lap times down. We're looking at Fabio once again as he goes through the beautiful section here. Get your phones out, scan the QR code, you can get to the live timing page, so you can get all the information as you watch the race live, and all the beautiful details. Of course, the new STK Gaming live timing page has been refurbished completely, and it's highly customizable. You keep your changes in the memory of the browser until you do cache clearing, so you can set basically everything you want with your mouse. So it's quite amazing what they have done with this beautiful program. So Jackson Kasenji slowing down just like in F1, creating separation, Brad, for the quali run.
I mean, we are in Silverstone, so it does make sense to set some separation and go through. But Jackson Rasenjay trying to find some space here. And look at this. Look at the Tony Kanaan drivers all just in a line. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Tony Kanaan drivers in the mix there. It might even be a couple more depending on what we've got sitting through. So yeah, Tony Kanaan, the Texaco drivers, know what they're doing here to try to set fast laps and try to help each other out. And look at that pace difference as we go through Maggots and around down onto the Wellington Straight. That is a pace difference that we see. And David Toth, Pepsi Max, 0 calories, absolutely delicious. Good livery from him as well. We saw the Dorito and Mountain Dew livery in AMX 0. AMX 10, it's going to be Pepsi Max, 0 calories. Ooh, I love it. As we watch David Toth go through. And look at this, Gaston Kohalvi coming around. And that is going to be, I believe, Fabio Zamperlini completely off on the inside of the track, trying to give some space through and doing the best he can to just relax.
Only 4 minutes and a half left in this quali session as we see the times on the screen. 1:05.0. I think we can go below the 1:05 mark, personally. Let's see if these drivers prove me right or they prove me wrong. As Gustavo Ariel doesn't improve, 106.7 for the Brazilian driver. Still in front of David Koth and Victor Miranda. Amash Simon is in 6th. Fabrizio Belziti 7th. And then, we have an engine that goes on the straight, not good. Eliseo, Fulhavi and Facundo Rago. Right now, the reverse pole spot is occupied by the Mexican, one of the favorites right now for the reverse pole spot, Mauricio Lozano.
Yeah, it looks like it was actually Mauricio Lozano that lost his engine there on the Wellington Straight. So I'm curious exactly what happened that caused that, because it's not something I'm used to seeing in qualifying, and something I'm also not used to seeing in qualifying is Corentin Gunez absolutely hugging the inside wall there and giving room to drivers behind. I thought he was going to hit the barrier there of the pits and just held it hard there across the inside, and there, finally we break the 105s. Gustavo Ariel, 104.906, just sends it through. I love the look of that. Very, very nice to see. 104.906 from Gustavo Ariel, the highest I-rating driver in the lobby. And now the question becomes, with 3 minutes left, you've got good enough time for about 2, maybe 3 timed laps. Who can take out the Texaco Racing drivers 104.9 and go a little bit lower? Do we have a 104.8 for that?
Gustavo, of course, was well in contention to win race 2 at Hockenheim earlier, but unfortunately got taken out on the final lap in an unfortunate incident. In race 1, of course, was involved in the melee in the first lap, and that basically nursed his car all the way throughout the 8-lap race to finish, I think, around 8th place, coincidentally. So, but in race 2 we saw his real pace, but in the end he hasn't, gotten what he should have gotten from the pace he showed in race 1 and 2. Therefore, I feel like he's really looking to, improve his situation, improve himself, and not really prove himself, but at least get something out of tonight. And good for him, because he's looking a possibility, a strong candidate for pole position, and of course that entails reverse grip all the way to the back. So once again, hopefully he can avoid drama, because we saw how fast he is. But still, we have a couple of minutes left, and things can change in a hurry in the time standings. So all to play for pole position.
Somebody spun there. Has anyone told these drivers it's just qualifying? They don't need to get racy yet? Drivers are just giving us a preview of what to expect. And look at this. All 19 drivers that have put in a lap time are separated by a second, Marco. Man, this is going to be some close racing, and I cannot wait. It just goes to show why the MX-5 is like the car in iRacing. It's the rookie car. We call it the rookie car, but it's the car that everyone learns and everyone knows and loves. It's a car that you need to be able to get in and just run. It's where you learn everything you need to know about iRacing here. With just over 35 seconds left to go in this qualifying session, make that a nice 30 seconds right about now. All the drivers need to be putting in their final times here. Gasta Kulhalvi, 105.210, trying his best. Can anyone beat that 104.906? I don't think so. But we see Gianni Vecchio coming out of the pits here. I'm sure he knows he doesn't have enough time to put in a lap, but I think he may just be going out just to look around. Lucky Strike livery there on that number 5, Facundo Arago. I love that with the Lucky Strike and Ray-Bans. Good setup. And now the number 52, Spetrunev. Does he have enough time across the line? No, just short there. But he was on a good lap. And now, as we look over the Silverstone countryside here in the heart of Great Britain, look at the stands, look at the fans, look at the proper pit straight, and get ready for some good laps of action here in Silverstone. And let's get ready to show you how qualifying shaped up. Again, entire field separated by less than a second, which I think is amazing to see. I absolutely love seeing that. That is how close things were, because what that does for us is it means we get some close racing. Gustavo Ariel, the only driver in the 104s. Corentin Gunez, P2. David Toth, P3. Jackson Resenje, Victor Miranda, P4 and P5 respectively. Tomas Simon, P6, Gaston Kohlhavi, Fabrizio Belziti, Elisiu, and Facundo Arago are our top 10. And Marco, any names here stick out to you for where they qualified?
Yeah, Gianni Vecchio and Gal Valero looking a little bit, quote-unquote, out of position. Of course, they'll get the benefit of a good reverse, but only sitting in 12th and 13th, respectively, in the quali session. Just notice that 4 sessions so far tonight, 4 TK Racing winners. So let's see if somebody can break the string of success for the Brazilian team.
That is a strong ask from anyone who goes through. And of course, this is Silverstone. It's going to be a standing start. I don't know what else you would expect when you're going to have MX5s at Silverstone. So, for those of you who know your Silverstone circuits very well, you are starting on the old pit straight, going down. Turn 1 is, of course, the beautiful Cops Corner. Goes through Maggots, and Maggots will loop around to the Wellington straight. And then it's back Brooklands and Luffield, back onto the pit straight. So, it's a very, very quick lap. We've seen plenty of laps around, and everybody hold your breath as the cars rev up. And there's the green, green, green call. We are underway here for 14 laps of action here in AMX 10. And remember, it's 14 laps in Heat 1, and then we'll flip it around and do 14 more laps for Heat 2. And right away, Pedro Amora gets away very well. Josh Purwine and Gael Valero. We saw Josh Purwine, a very, very heated battler in AMX 0, and he is going to stick to it here, going through Gianni Vecchio and fabulous Fabio Zappellini battling for P4 there. You can see they're going through. Look at Elisiu trying to defend from Fabrizio Belziti around. A little bit of a bump gap there from Gianni Vecchio on Josh Purwine, but holds on to it there. And we are through Maggots with no issues down the Wellington straight. Lots of side-by-side to be seen all the way through. As the drivers get ready to hit Brooklands, it'll be a nice, deep braking zone into the left-hander. And you can see down the inside goes Josh Purwine, trying to get around Pedro Mora here. And they are doing their best to keep things clean. And I will say this is a very, very good start to the race here as we come out of Luffield onto Woodcote, back onto the pit straight. And Marco, that is 1 lap of 14 gone very, very quickly.
Yes, these laps will go away faster than ice creams and a ice cream stand in summer. Quick pace constantly, and the drivers will have to be on their toes. There is no time to rest mentally in this race.
Yeah, mental breaks are very few and far between here for the driver, and it really is just going to be a matter of push, 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 push. Do everything you can every single lap to work your way forward and leave nothing to question on if you're the fastest driver or you're the most crafty driver or you are the whatever driver you are trying to be for these 14 laps here. Lap 2, as we go down the Wellington straight, we go under the bridge. Again, we're going to brake hard into Brooklands, and look at that. Look at Gianni Vecchio with a dive up the inside there on Facundo Arago, and he gets that pass done. He's up to P3, and Fabrizio Belziti has spun back in the back. He drops all the way down to P19, and it looks like Fabrizio Belziti with a moment there going into Brooklands and finds himself all the way back here. Gael Valero doing well to put pressure on Facundo Arago as we loop around and we start lap 3. It's Corentin Gunes ahead of Elisiu, and at this moment, Josh Purwine and Pedro Mora, Marco, are up in the lead, but fastest lap, Gustavo Ariel, and we're starting to see how that slipstream and that draft that we kept talking about affects things.
See the Rasti's car getting a little bit of a helping hand from behind as Josh Purwine and Pedro Mora trying to pull away, but it's going to be incredibly difficult. If you know your bikes, this is going to be basically a Moto3 race, so expect this to be the MO for the majority of the race. With everyone in a big pack, you can see Gianni Vecchio is trying to find a way to get on the inside of Pedro Mora, but he looks in the mirror, he sees a very aggressive Gael Valero, so he doesn't want to leave the door open with an aggressive attack on the car in front to open the door for the car behind. So right now, like I said earlier, it's a game of chess or a game of poker, whatever you prefer. Drivers need to pick their spots carefully, otherwise they go a long way in the wrong way.
What driver is the grandmaster and what driver is the apprentice, if we're sticking with the chess analogies, which I like chess. I play chess a lot, so I'm going to stick with it for a minute. Who is going to be the queen and who is going to checkmate? Here we go. Watch this, Gianni Vecchio with some good pace against Pedro Mora, doing very well. Boas dropping back in the backfield. A little bit of a battle there, but big battle up at the front. And look at this. It's everybody's separated by a tenth or less down the Wellington Straight. It's tight pack racing, and this is what we love. This is genuinely NASCAR stuff. It's like we're watching NASCAR at Talladega, where you're going to pack up, you're going to go into two lines, you're going to push, you're going to draft, you're going to do everything you can. And at the end of it all, Gianni Vecchio finds his way around Pedro Mora and is now P2 behind Josh Perwine, and he is going to try to settle things up. And watch this. Are the Tony Kanaan boys going to do their best to work together? That 14 of Pedro Mora and Gustavo Ariel, are they going to work together and try to hold off Gal Valero? Are they going to try to get Victor Miranda in the mix? What is their plan at the moment, or do they have a plan? It is remaining to be seen because Josh Perwine defends the inside on Gianni Vecchio. The very, very smooth defense. And Josh Perwine really just needs everybody behind him to keep battling. He needs them to just keep pushing each other, passing each other, because the more they do that, the less Josh Perwine has to worry about. But we know the pace of Gianni Vecchio. We know the pace of the Tony Kanaan drivers of Gustavo Ariel and Pedro Mora. How long can Josh Perwine make this MX-5 as wide as a top truck and absolutely hold the cars behind, especially down in the braking zone here at Brooklands? What can he do? Because at the moment, it doesn't look like it's going to be a lot. And look at that. Everybody's diving around 3 wide, 3 by 3. Now as we go through, look at that. The number 14 slides a little bit, Pedro Mora. But up at the front, it is still Josh Perwine with the defense on Gianni Vecchio. And Gustavo Ariel is going to try to work the outside line here. He's going to try to bring it F1 style around the outside of Luffield into Woodcote. Can't make it stick. And for another lap, Josh Perwine says, I will survive, and holds on going into lap 6 against Gianni Vecchio and Gustavo Ariel here.
Eliseu is down in 12th, gets the fastest lap of the race. Shows you how competitive this field is as they keep on battling. As we are about to go maybe 3 wide here, it doesn't usually work, guys. Careful. Oh, they squeeze in somehow. Here comes Valero on the inside of Ariel, and I think he can make it stick, maybe. Big props to everybody. Gianni Vecchio tries to take the lead. Can he do it?
He's got the lead by less than a tenth of a second here, but Josh Perwine has the inside line into the braking zone. Who comes out ahead here? Does someone try a dive? And it looks like back-to-back Gustavo Ariel is going to think about trying a dive there and getting his nose in the mix, but he's not close enough. And now there we go. Gianni Vecchio will try to hold on to it. A little bit of a bump there from the number 12 of Ariel on Perwine, it looked like. And now as they come out and then exit out of Woodcote onto the pit straight, it is going to be new leader halfway through this race, Gianni Vecchio. And Josh Perwine just needs a friend right now. He needs someone to push through. But the number 12 wants no part of that. They're going to go 3 wide going into Cops. And if you thought 2 wide in Cops was scary, 3 wide in Cops is even worse. But they settle things out before we even hit the Cops quarter. Gianni Vecchio slams the door shut on Gustavo Ariel, and Josh Perwine slams the door shut on both of them as we go down into Maggots. And look at this run that we are getting, because this is Josh Perwine into the lead yet again, defending from Gianni Vecchio. Maybe he's not defending from Gianni Vecchio because sneaking up the inside, Gustavo Ariel, and there's somebody off in the background. Who was that? I believe that was Pedro Mora, but I'm not sure. No, that was Jackson Mercenje, way off in the background. But look at this, it's 2 by 3 by 3 going down into Brooklands. Hold on to your breath because they're 3 wide, and in the end of it all, Gianni Vecchio still trying to find the pass. 4 wide, 4 and oh my gosh, what is going to happen? Because where did Victor Miranda come from? Victor Miranda is now in the lead against Josh Perwine. Where did Victor Miranda get in the mix of this?
Oh man, this is absolutely amazing, and I wasn't expecting anything less from this one, as we are at the halfway point. And I mean, everybody can be a winner in this one.
Nobody has friends. Side-by-side through Cops, and if you watch any sort of motorsport, side-by-side through Cops ends one of 2 ways, and in this way, it's going to be Victor Miranda in the lead. And look at this. They are Talladega pack racing. These MX-5s are Talladega pack racing, Marco. I know you're a NASCAR fan, so this, if you're thinking like me, looks very familiar here. Victor Miranda is just trying to defend the draft and do what he can to hold cars behind. Josh Purwine, Gianni Vecchio, look at that mirror to mirror. And look at this. Victor Miranda is going to push Josh Purwine all the way into the grass to try to defend it. Now he's going to cut all the way back up and defend it.
Big crash.
There goes Vecchio, and there goes Kohlhavi, and there goes Toth and Simon. So many drivers going off there. It was boiling for laps on laps, and that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call the big one of this race, because now it's Victor Miranda, Josh Purwine, and Gustavo Ariel. The pack has spread out because there were multiple drivers involved in that have dropped back, but it looks like most of them are still running, and most of them are still on the track, which is the good thing to see, but a lot of them have lost a lot of places, and Josh Purwine is not giving Victor Miranda a second of breathing room. Let's get a replay in the bottom right, Marco.
Yeah, I mean, the way it started, we go 3 wide once again for the lead. I thought it was going to be a bigger crash that was going to break the pack apart, but apparently not. They are all tied together once again. Basically, like nothing happened. Well, apart from poor Gaston Kohlhavi, of course, and Gianni Vecchio, who went back down to 7th place. So, I mean, we continue. We press on. Oh boy.
Oh boy is right, because look at this, 3 wide going into Brooklands, holding on Victor Miranda to the inside. He's going to try to defend against Josh Purwine. He's getting very, very close to Josh Purwine. Josh Purwine holding that curb, doing the best he can. And Victor Miranda has his teammate of Gustavo Ariel for company in the background, but Josh Purwine has Gaio Valero for company going through. And look at the tag on the front bumper there of that number 11. Victor Miranda with a little bit of damage on the front bumper. And look at this. Look at the pump draft with the 11 and the 12. I love this. As they go through, they're running down into cops yet again. And, Josh Purwine doing everything in his power to try to find this pass. We're lap 10 to 14 here, and things show no sign of slowing down. We're packing up again. We're doing everything, and Victor Miranda has to defend like his life depends on it. How wide can you make an MX-5, Victor Miranda? Hopefully it's as wide as a Caterpillar dump truck, because you have a lot of hungry drivers right behind you. If I'm reading the leaderboard right, there's just approximately 12 of them that are in the mix as we go 4 wide again, going down into the braking zone of Brooklands. And again, they go down from like 3-4 wide. Everybody sells it back in side by side. Gaio Valero has found his way up to P2, and he's trying to sneak his way around the inside, but Josh Purwine is going to carry the speed. Gaio Valero is going to spin, and who does he take with him? Did he take anyone? It looks like he took Simon with him there in the background. Gianni Vecchio sneaking his way up into 6th. And now it is Victor Miranda, Josh Purwine that are battling it out forward. But again, we're going to see Ariel Gunas, Toth, Vecchio. They're all going to stack up. They're all going to get in the mix. But up front, it is Victor Miranda, Josh Purwine that are absolutely making it a challenge for each other. We're lap 11 of 14, Marco.
This is incredible racing. A little bit of respite for the 2 leaders, but it's not going to last very long, because I think David Toth is going to come back and bring everybody with him as they go 3 wide right behind the Pepsi Max car of David, the driver from Hungary, that is, basically bringing Ariel and Vecchio back with him, and everybody else, of course. So you see, just like in the super speedways, when you take too big of a gap, the gap gets closed immediately. And again, 2-3 wide into this corner here, as we see the beautiful picture-in-picture shot of Gustavo Ariel. Careful there, David Toth going to 2nd place.
David Toth, be careful here. Take that Pepsi Max and run it to the max. Don't blow the engine though, please. I know you have the NOS turned up, but hey, you got to survive to the end, please, and thank you. As we go down the main straight here, and we're heading down towards Cops Corner, and it is Victor Miranda in the lead, David Toth P2, Josh Purwine P3, and Gustavo Ariel in 4th place, just trying to hold on to the back of Toth here and do the best he can to go through. And riding on board with Ariel, you can see just how close this pack racing is. It is very, very minute. It's very, very close, and any sort of small error can cost you big time like that right there. That's number 13, and he gets clobbered. Oh, big crash. That's the 6. That's a 13. And who else was that was involved? That was the number 18, I believe. I think Fabio Zamperlini, possibly. There's like 5 cars off in the background, and I'm sure we'll get a replay of that. But at the moment, we need to watch up front because Victor Miranda's under pressure. How's he going to defend this inside? Maybe a little bit of a bumper tap there from Josh Purwine, but there's not. But David Toth is going to absolutely send it up the inside here. going through left field, trying to hold on to it, and he does. Josh Perwine gets left, hung out to dry on the outside, and there we go. Slots in the number 12 of Gustavo Ariel, and now it is Josh Perwine dropping down into 4th place. Lap 12 of 14, 13 of 14 just started. Everybody hold on for just 2 more laps. They've got 2 more laps of action. And remember, we get 14 more laps of action after this. So just hold on for a moment. Victor Miranda, you've got a 1/10 of a second behind you with a real fast David Toth who wants to use the slipstream against you, but just hold on. You're almost home.
Well, David Toth looking very aggressive as they go into the loop and through entry. Back onto the Wellington Straight. I see Gianni Vecchio is, I think, scheming for what's going to be his next move. As Miranda defends on the inside. Of course, Miranda won race 1 and race 2 in Hockenheim, wants to win race 1 here as well. He missed on pole and he's not going to win.
No! I hate that. And he rejoins, and thankfully he's going to rejoin in the pack, but he's slow. Marco, no!
No, he's going to get a penalty for cutting the track, unfortunately, so that's going to be it as the white flag waves. Gustavo Ariel is looking very good.
Gustavo Ariel, 0.3 of a second ahead, but again, that gap's going to close. He's got to defend just a little bit more here from David Toth and Josh Perwine. He needs to defend going into Brooklands. That is the key. Hold on to it here in Maggots and Beckett, or in Maggots. It's not Beckett's, it's just Maggots, if you can. And then down the Wellington Straight, just keep your foot pinned. David Toth with a little bit worse of an exit, it seems, here. And Josh Perwine is going to try to get the run as he can here down the inside. He wants that P2. He wants those extra points that he can get. And look at this. He's going to look on the inside. And Gustavo Ariel, very, very smart, defends the inside there. But now David Toth is going to try to send it. He's going to try to send it in. He's not close enough. He's going to actually slide outside. Josh Perwine might get it up the inside here, coming out of Woodcote, going out of left field into Woodcote, onto the pit straight here. And as they come through, I think it might be Josh Perwine up the inside for P2. And look at this. Hold on. It's photo finish. And oh my gosh, 3/1000ths of a second will separate David Toth and Josh Perwine for that P2 position. Gustavo Ariel take a bow for a good win. Victor Miranda, I am sorry, but you still got a good P7. Gael Valero, P8. And Marco, we have 14 more laps of this. I don't know if my heart can take it.
I'm just going to say this. A couple of weeks back, I was on commentary duty on a Sunday, and I witnessed a triple crown in AMX 0. Then in AMX 10, driver got pole, won race 1, and barely missed on the win in race 2. So, I mean, this is like getting back-to-back attempts at a perfect game, you know? Missing the first one, and having a second chance at glory with the second one. So, Gustavo Ariel, I mean, no pressure on you, man, but, you know, this could be an historical day. And as you were saying, it's not going to be easy because we have 14 more laps of this crazy lottery here at Silverstone.
14 more laps coming, but let's recap your Heat 1 results here and the first 14 laps. Gustavo Ariel in the lead. David Toth will finish P2 after a good battle forward. Josh Perwine P3. Gianni Vecchio was battling for the lead, had an unfortunate spin, but still battles his way up into 4th place. Very respectable. Tomas Simon, 5th place. Guillermo Elisiu, 6th place. Very respectable run there. Victor Miranda, again, was battling up front, but has to resound for P7 with a spin with just a couple laps to go. Gael Valero, 8th place. Facundo Drago, Sandra Boas, Gaston Quahavi, Jackson Masinje, Fabrizio Belzini, Quentin Gunez, and Mauricio Lozano will round out your top 15. And now we just invert them. So that means Lozano will start on the good side of the grid here. And we are going to get ready for another 14 laps of action, and we are gonna put the Rusty's car in 3rd place. He says ka-chow, but it's gonna be the lead car of Lozano here. The Mexican driver takes us away and gets us ready for 14 more laps. Quentin Gunez is going to slot into P2 here and get ready to battle very early. Fabrizio Belziti will get ready to ka-chow his way forward. Because remember, with Rusty's, you too could look like him. And with AMXRace.com, you too could join him on the grid here. All the way through side by side already, side by side. And the Qantas covered. Number 17 of Boas is trying to battle Marco. What is happening? Because they're 3 wide and they're trying to hold on to it here. The first run down the Wellington Straight. Who comes out ahead, Marco?
I mean, at the moment, Vladi went all in as Guinness on the inside, Lozano on the outside. They're trying to sort themselves out as the pack arrives basically already towards the end of lap 1. Corentin Guinness now, he has a little bit of separation between himself and the other top level drivers. But I mean, this race is a great equalizer, so I don't think even he can pull away. And don't get me wrong, the Rusty's power, Belziti, is certainly a tough cookie. So I mean, this is going to be another one like the first one. Nobody can pull away. Play your cards at the right moment. Triple Crown watch, Gustavo Ariel is still all the way back to 14th, only +1 for him in the start of the race.
Yeah, hold your breath, everybody, because it's going to be a long 14 laps through. Quentin Gunez, Fabrizio Belziti battling it through, and look at that, Facundo Arago and Boas flopping through. Toth now getting through as they go 3-4 wide through. Oh, they helped themselves out, I think. That Qantas livery, number 17, is going to find his way up into 12th place. But up front, it's the braking zone again for Brooklands. It comes so fast. These laps are just over a minute, so everything goes very quick. Again, these drivers have no time to relax here, and they've ran 14 laps. They got 60 seconds to breathe, and now they've got to do another 14 laps of pushing. But at the moment, Quentin Gunez pushing very, very well, keeping a few tenths up his pocket, in his hand, however you want to phrase that, keeping his way forward. Facundo Arago is trying to defend from David Toth here and doing a very good job of it, because look at this, David Toth and Josh Perwine. It's a reflection of the battle we watched in Heat 1. They're side by side here in Heat 2 going through back in the mid-pack. And again, they're so tightly packed. This is the battle for P11 Parco. They are so close together that you can look back and see first place all the way back down to about 14th place, because it's just one big pack race going.
Absolutely, and they will be thinking, the drivers in around 11, 12 place, 13, 14, 15, it's a long way to the top if you want. Oh, there is a big crash in the back. So, Karaspan was Spetriniv as Belziti tries to go around around the outside is Lozano, and Kulavi. They were battling for 4th place. In the meantime, Ulhavi and Valero also battling it out, of course, with the various attempts. Like I was saying, you go for a move, you open the door for another driver to overtake you. As they go side by side, Miranda and Ulhavi now. Miranda not using his Texaco livery, but very much a Texaco Tony Canan racing driver, so don't be confused by that. Eligeu, 105.1, that's fastest lap of the race so far. I doubt that he's going to stand for much longer.
With the way these drivers are going, it's either going to not stand for much longer, or it's going to... Oh, there's a slide there, and that is Lozano that is spun. Who has he taken with him? Has he taken more cars? Oh my gosh,
Miranda.
That was a spin.
The problem.
Oh man, I think...
Place.
Oh my gosh. These drivers, it's such competitive. 4 wide. Oh no, who was that snapped out? That was Facundo Arago, and look at that, there's another driver spinning. Who is that that's spinning, Marco? It was all together, and now it's all falling apart. Has the fatigue started to set in? And we still have 10 more laps after this. So watch this, Toth and Simon battling here and doing their best to fight around. And look at this, Gustavo Ariel in the mix as well, as we watch the battles go through. Victor Miranda's out. Gianni Vecchio is also out. That's a big name to note. But look at this, the Pepsi Max car going to the max to defend here against Gustavo Ariel, doing his best impression of a absolute defense and doing everything he can here to keep things going. Marco, what happened? Because it was all together and then it all fell apart real quick.
Yeah, and it was something big must have happened there. And of course, when you race in such tight quarters, a mistake in front of you can be involved, even if you have big, good reflexes. So it's not easy to avoid crashes. Thankfully, there is plenty of real estate, even though it's mostly grass in this old school layout of Silverstone. But anyways, drivers were able to avoid major drama, so all in all, we had a couple of crashes, but they only took a couple of cars and nothing more. And let's see, there is a bit of a gap now forming between the top 3 and Gael Valero down in 4th. This could be crucial for the top 3 chances of pulling away the gap. We will see, of course. I was about to say now the race will settle down. It won't, of course. We saw that in race 1 as well. We'll see if Valero is able to close the gap on Hasenji, because right now, 1.3 seconds. It's not a small gap to cover on a track like this. We are barely at the edge of the drafting range of this car.
I kind of think Gael Valero is going to lose touch with the top 3 as I watch that gap, because as they're going down the Wellington Straight, it's opening up. It was 1.2, 1.3, now it's a second and a half, so unless he's got something he can do here through Luffield and through Maggots, there's not a lot of chance for him to open or close the gap again, or these front 3 need to really start battling things around. Fabio Zamperlini gets past Facundo Drago past Fabio Zamperlini, and there's some good battles there in the mid to backfield, but really that gap is entirely too wide. And look at it, it's still opening up. So if you've ever watched these MX-5s race in real life, I think my favorite race I've ever watched was during the 24 Hours of Daytona. I watched the live broadcasting of the MX-5 races at the Daytona road course. And it truly was, once the gaps opened up, it was done. If you lost out on that second gap, it was through and over, and you weren't getting it back unless the people up front made a big error. And at the moment, that's about where we sit, unless these front 3 really start battling, because the thing is, this pack is still battling very hard, so they're not going to give each other the benefit of slipstreaming and trying to run it forward and trying to catch up with the front pack. As we see here, David Toth, hard braking up the inside, is going to try to get the run here on Gael Valero, going into Luffield and doing the best he can, but not able to hold on to it. And of course, Elysiu, Josh Perwine, and Simon are all trying to get a battle around. We're watching on board with Fabrizio Belziti in the bottom right corner. And Marco, the gap's coming back a little bit, but I still think they're just too far away unless they start working together.
In the previous lap, we've had Gustavo Ariel and Josh Perwin set the exact same lap time down to the 3rd decimal. That was the fastest lap of the race. It went to Josh Perwin because iRacing counts down to the 4th decimal, even though it doesn't show it to us. Big. Getting the fastest lap of the race while fighting, as the gap goes down to 1 second. This might not be over yet.
Yeah. Can we say that I commentator cursed that? Okay.
Of course, but they're battling now. David Toth goes in front of Valero, so they should be, I know they are having a lot of fun, so I'm not blaming them, but this is not helping, especially now that the top 3 are losing a bit of pace. Them battling hard is counterproductive, if that is a word.
Yeah, counterproductive. It really is. And again, we see the gap opening 1.2 seconds, possibly 1.3, but fastest lap goes to David Toth by almost 0.6 of a second against the top 3 on that last lap. So he's got a good run, Toth does. He just needs to get the pack behind him to close it up. And they need to just sit down and, relax and keep things moving, which if you tell Gustavo Ariel and Gael Valero to calm down right now, I think they're going to yell at you, because look at this. They're side by side through into the kitty litter, goes to 33, and he comes back on, and he does manage to keep it together there and keep things moving forward. And the gap, again, just over that 1 second mark to where the pack can close up. Because if David Toth catches Jackson Rasinje, that is going to close things up in the top 10. Will all be battling through. And here we go. David Toth now has it under a second, or 0.9 of a second here, coming through Luffield into Woodcote. And what can he do to get towards the top 3? We're starting lap 10 to 14, Marco. It's going to be just a few laps to go. Do you think David Toth still has a chance to win this, or do you think Corentin Gunes has this in the bag? Or do you think maybe P2 or P3 can get around if they can get the pack behind them to work together?
I think that Belziti or Hasenji are going to attack Inez, therefore David Toth and the guys behind him have one more chance of closing the gap, and then it's going to be a free-for-all for the race win.
A free-for-all. I love it. I love watching it when the drivers can just take the gloves off and truly go here at the end of these AMX 10 Heat 2s. There's nothing else to lose. Of course, keep it clean, keep it above the belt, but give it your all and leave nothing to question, because Fabrizio Belziti with a lot of pace here. I see Fabio Zamperlini dropping back on the timing board, and it looks like Josh Perwin is diving up the inside of Gaio Valero on the back corner of your screen, but up front is where the big battles are going. And look at this, Josh Perwin around the outside here of that number 33 of Gaio Valero, trying to hold on to it around the outside here of Luffield into Woodcote, but can't hold on. And honestly, he might have opened up the door for Elysiu to get through. And if Elysiu gets through, then Josh Perwin might be in a bad position here, because we are lap 11 of 14. Hold on to it, boys. Just a few more laps to go. 105.005 from Gustavo Ariel. Fastest lap. And again, David Toth has closed that gap up now, Marco. It is now a big pack fight. 5 cars for the front.
They go through Maggots and Baggots once again. Only just a few. Basically, I mean, if this was like a normal track, we would have like 2 laps to go, or 1.5 laps to go. So, I mean, it's the time on the board left is quite small compared to the laps. Just a couple of minutes and we will know who wins this one.
This is such a tight battle here, and it truly is just the question of who goes where. Look at this front 5. The front 5 are really pushing, and look at this. Gustavo Ariel putting the pressure on David Toth. You can see the slightly alternate line out of Woodcote as we go on to start lap 12 here, Marco. And at this point, I think the drivers are going to take a lap, recollect themselves, and then start sending it through. Or maybe I'm completely wrong and we're about to see a lot of side-by-side action from these top 5. I don't know. Let's find out as we go down into Maggots here, Marco. And we're going to hit the Wellington Straight and see what these drivers can pull through as they were thinking about it there. And that is going to be Gustavo Ariel takes an alternate line here. And Marco, Gustavo Ariel looks very, very hungry for that race win.
He does, and the Triple Crown is on the line. Oh boy, this is going to be crucial to get the pass done right now. Up into 3rd. Can he make it stick? Somehow he can.
I think he got helped a little bit with Jackson Rasenjay getting a little loose there in the braking zone and locking up in Brooklands, because now Gustavo Ariel up into 3rd place, and he has just 2 laps to try to push it forward and get around Fabrizio Belziti and Corentin Gunez. And it is doable. And look at this, Jackson Rasenjay and David Toth side by side as we run down here on the pit straight, and they are going to keep each other very honest, very, very hard racing. Side by side, a little bit of curb there from Jackson Rasenjay. It's going to send David Toth very, very wide. A little bit of a bump there, but Jackson Rasenjay is able to hold on to the car. And now we run down into Maggots here. And at this point, it is Gustavo Ariel getting ahead of Fabrizio Belziti for P2. And now, oh, Gustavo Ariel, you have it all to do in this final lap. Everybody, keep your eyes ahead. David Toth and Jackson Rasenjay battling very, very close here down the Wellington Straight. But it is that battle for the lead that we are going to have to watch on that final lap, because that is going to be where the real challenge comes in. Jackson Rasenjay up the inside of David Toth here, going down into Brooklands. And a bit of a slide there from David Toth. Just overcooked it. And Marco, we go into the final lap, and there's contact. Big contact.
Big drama, big spin, bumpers flying, and white flag coming out.
Oh, that took out, I believe, Simon Perwin, Boas, Elysiu. I don't know if it took Kohlhavi. I don't believe it did. But that sets up that back of the pack is very spread out now. So it is this 3-car battle for the race win that we need to watch here on this final lap. Corentin Gunez, Gustavo Ariel, Fabrizio Belziti. And what can Gustavo Ariel do at this point to get this pass done, Marco?
He needs a big lunge and a mistake. Maybe this was the mistake. Let's see, because Corentin Gunez lost a lot of time getting into the Wellington Straight. Here we go for the Triple Crown.
Quarantine Gunez is going to keep Ariel all the way on, bumping and banging down the Wellington straight. And it's like he's trying to spin him. What is this? And there we go. They might have hooked with netcode, but it does look like Gustavo Ariel somehow held that together. Quarantine Gunez completely loses pace and loses so much time there that I think even Fabrizio Belziti might get past him here. And as they exit out of Love Field and out of Woodcote, Gustavo Ariel take a bow. The Texaco Tony Kanaan driver can take a bow and be happy with that performance. But I don't know what happened there in the Wellington. I don't know if that was netcode or what that was that caused those two to kind of connect there for a second and hold on. But bows given all the way around here as we see the drivers come across the line. And Marco, what a race that was. Oh my gosh. I don't know how to feel about that. Wow.
That was absolutely amazing, and we get a clean sweep from Ariel in the second race, a clean sweep from Miranda in the first one. 6 out of 6 sessions won by DK Racing Texaco drivers. Absolute domination. 2 triple crowns. What more do you want?
Can I have another 14 laps, AMX? Can we just go ahead and tack on a Heat 3 real quick to the iRacing server and just tell the drivers, haha, JK, no interviews, but you're going to run another 14 laps for us as a consolation. Because I think that might be some of my favorite racing I've seen here in AMX. Gustavo Ariel, take a bow. You round out 6 of 6 for Tony Kanaan Texaco Racing today. Quarantine Gunez, P2, with a very, very competitive battle. Fabrizio Belziti, 3rd. Jackson Rasenje, 4th place. And David Toth round out our top 5. Some other big names, Elisiu in 9th. Gal Valero in 6th. You see Mauricio Lozano, who had a good run here in Heat 2, ends up finishing 12th place. Victor Miranda all the way down in 17th after some late race incidents. And the other big name that I see, Fabio Zamperlini and Diego Villarreal, 13th and 14th place. And Marco, that is going to be our Saturday afternoon rounded out, because man, you said that this is good racing, and you told me that during kind of the off time that this to expect a lot, and I think I got more than I paid for, to be honest.
Yes, that was absolutely amazing, guys. Thank you so much for the broadcast. And racing here on AMX is always great.
Can't wait to do it again tomorrow. And yes, we're less than 24 hours to tomorrow's race. A big thank you to Automatics, BenQ, Next Level Racing, and the KARA for helping make everything that we do here in AMX possible. Without their support, it would not be possible. And of course, a big thank you. Thank you, every single fan watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you to all the drivers for joining. This wouldn't be possible if we didn't have drivers and we didn't have fans. So check us out on social media and show some love for everything we do here. It is Instagram, it is Twitch, it is Twitter, it is Discord, it is the YouTube, it's the website amxrace.com. That's how you get involved. And it is, of course, TikTok, AMX Global on TikTok. And you can see some of the fun clips. Marco, any last comments here before we call it for a night?
Come back tomorrow for some more AMX action.
Absolutely. So everybody, take a bow, take it easy. And on behalf of Marco, my name is Brad, and we will see you at the next one.